Okay, I don't know who we're going to do next. We only have Scorpio and Capricorn left to do. So basically the way it's going to work is if we shake water, we're doing Scorpio. If we shake earth, we're any of the earth signs, we're doing Cap. Okay, so we shook Taurus. So we're going to be doing Capricorn. Using the Wild Unknown Tarot for you today. I don't use this deck very often. But let's go ahead and let's do it. Now I'm doing a spread that I made called the Tower. So if you see me looking off camera, I have like a sheet of printer paper with a Sharpie and all that stuff on it. It's kind of mapped it out. First, we're going to use the magnetic poetry to get your message, to get out a pen and a piece of paper. Check the description box for everything you know or you need to know, including a place where you can look up your chart to figure out what your rising moon and Venus sign are, which you can watch for additional messages. You do need to know the time that you were born in order to discern what your rising sign is. Ooh, we had some things jump out, so we'll put those down right away here. But what are the messages for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for August 2025? Okay. A lot of people are getting the word picture, I notice. An S. Write these down. So we'll be using, we'll be doing this spread using, again, like I said, the Wild Unknown Tarot. And then we'll use the Rebel Oracle, the Rebel deck, for some no BS advice at the end of the read. Jot those puppies down. You can even pause if you need to. Trying to power through these readings, so if I talk super fast, sorry, I'm working from home today, so after I get these readings completed, hopefully I can get both of them done, Scorpio and Capricorn. I just finished Libra, because I'm going to be doing math for the next 8 hours after this, so. Okay, cool. All right, so this spread, it kind of follows a structure of sorts. And I kind of devised it with that in mind, kind of following a tower-like structure. Ooh, I haven't used these in forever. It's important because, you know, I was kind of thinking of, oh, it'd be cool if I did a spread about what's unexpected, but I already did a hidden spread. So I'm just thinking, okay, well, I'll follow a structure. I'm going to start out with a foundation for you today. And then I'll kind of go through the rest of the structure and how that kind of flows as we're going through this spread. I got this for Christmas one year and I haven't used it a whole lot. So, and somebody, I was at a shop the other day and somebody asked if I'd ever used the Wild Unknown Tarot. And I said, yeah, I've got it. I just don't use it a whole lot. I got it as a gift from my ex-boyfriend that I lived with for 5 years. They were like, well, maybe this is your sign to pull it out and use it. So I was like, well, I guess, you know, when I do my readings here, I'll get to using it at some point. And so we're using it. Didn't think we'd be using it for my sun sign, but here we are. One more. And then we'll get started for you. Okay. Twist for fairness. And here we go. Capricorn, Sun. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, I only use flippers and jumpers to a maximum of 3. So 5 cards in this bottom row. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Let's look at your foundation, what you're building on for the month of August. What are you starting out with as your foundation for August? Okay, so we got 1, 6 of Pentacles. Balance. Equilibrium. Fairness. I consider this a Libra card quite often. But it is about give and take and the balance and the interplay in between the two. Sorry, this is going to happen a lot. My lighting on my camera it tries to be helpful and adaptive during the day, and it's not. It's stupid. Anyway, yeah. So the balance and the interplay and the equity in a relationship, in all of your relationships, all of your dealings. So what is equitable in your relationships? You're kind of evaluating that, or you're in connections where there's equity in terms of your time, your effort, your energy, and monetary. What else? Capricorn. That was easy. The sun. This is during Leo season. Is it the sun? Yeah. During Leo season. So yeah, you've got... you've got a yes coming through for you. A wish is going to be happening for you during this time. When Doves Cry. Who's that by? Hey Google, who sings When Doves Cry?
When Doves Cry was recorded by Prince.
Okay, thank you. Don't know why that came up. I don't even listen to Prince. But When Doves Cry, I've seen the doves up there. So look that up. But there's a wish being granted to you during this time, or a foundation. You're in your foundation, you have a wish that's being granted to you, or a yes. Somebody said yes or is affirming something for you. This is positivity. Something could also be coming to light for you during August in your foundation. This is what you're building on right now, right? So the foundation for everything for you is a wish being granted, or positivity, or a positive answer to something. Hearing yes for once, which often Capricorns don't get to really do without working their asses off. Next we have the 7 of Pentacles in the reverse. Doesn't seem like there's much investment happening in some regard and connection. So this is a warning for you to really evaluate where you're putting your time, energy, effort, money. Are you dedicating it to the correct things? This is really saying that you might not be, or you're focusing on the wrong things and putting your energy into the wrong things in some regard. We'll kind of look at it as a sentence once we get all 5 cards down here. What else? Okay, the 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, there's a feeling of being excluded from something, feeling left out in the cold, withered. It's a mindset. It's a victimhood mindset, you know. And actually, yeah, it's something you might not want to talk about so much. You could be investing your energy into, you're kind of like perseverating on that a little too much. It's almost like an obsessive thinking that you're actually wasting your time and energy on this thought and feeling of being excluded, left out in the cold, an impoverished feeling too. Sometimes this is considered an impoverished feeling when you really should be looking all around you at what does make you rich. You know, wealth isn't necessarily always about, what we have in our bank account, right? Oh, that was fast. And then we have the 6 of Wands in the reverse. Yeah, you feel as if you've lost something. There's a great deal of feeling of loss here. And the thing is that you're investing a lot of your energy in it. You're putting all your energy towards overthinking the loss and the exclusion and impoverished feeling. This is normally, the 6 of Wands would normally... Yeah, the 6 of Wands would normally be considered a triumphant feeling. However, here it's kind of like on its head, you know. There is no winning here. And you're Capricorn, you know, we have a lot of positive traits, and our determination, our passion, our ambition for things often is our strength. However, one of our negative aspects is our tendency to obsess And there's a feeling here that you're kind of getting into that area of obsessing about loss and be that excluded feeling, or feeling like you've been left out in the cold in some regard, or like an impoverished feeling. When I mean, the foundation is telling you that you have things to be grateful for. You have a wish that's being granted to you. It has to do with equity. It has to do with the give and take of things being an ebb and flow, a good, healthy ebb and flow. And you have a yes here. Somebody's saying yes to you. Say yes to heaven. By Lana Del Rey. Somebody's saying yes to you. I've got my eye on you. But you're so focused on this grief over here, wasting all your energy on it, you can't see this. That's your foundation. So your foundation of your tower, your foundation of your structure here is already kind of on uneven footing. Moving forward, we're looking at the doors and the windows. You know, when God closes a door, he opens a window. So we're looking at that from the aspect of what are your challenges, what are your opportunities during August. Cap, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. What do we got for you? I remember why I don't use these very often, because they're kind of like, you see, this is a lot of cards to be kind of glopped together. And for how I read, my style, I don't like that, because I want them to be all individual, so they'll flip and jump fast. Here we go. Thank you. Oh, we have two. Okay. So the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse with the Page of Wands in the reverse. There's a detached feeling. You don't feel like yourself here. Mother of Pentacles is like the Queen of Pentacles, and the Daughter of Wands is like the Page of Wands. So you don't feel like yourself because you're not getting an inspired creative message. A passionate message or passionate communication isn't coming to you. So you feel detached from yourself, vice versa. Could also be that because you don't quite feel like yourself, you're not feeling connected to your home space either. And you're feeling like a lack of ambition in a sense. So you're not feeling empowered to speak or communicate from an inspired creative space. You're not communicating your ideas. That's a challenge for you. So those are two challenges for you, separate and mutualistic, because right now you might not be loving your home space. You might be feeling disconnected from the self, and you might be feeling a lack of ambition in terms of your goals. You might have a lack of direction in terms of your goals. And also you're feeling blocked in terms of passionately communicating ideas, feeling uninspired, and therefore not communicating your ideas. So that's a challenge for you during August. What else? Too many. Okay, there we go. The World. Endings. A strength of yours could be that when things aren't going right, you can see the forest for the trees and understand that endings are necessary. You have the ability to transform things. You could have a very interesting Scorpio placement. This is, of course, fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. But it is about endings. And the ability to transform something into something new after a completion of a cycle. This could also be an opportunity for you, is to see when a cycle is ended, how you can begin something new out of that. There might be something about yourself that is whole and complete that you're not necessarily recognizing also. But a challenge for you could be that you've reached the end of something, that something is finished out for you, and that it's time to begin something new. And it might be difficult, it might be a challenge for you to start new things. You might be really good at finishing things, but not starting things. I'm shuffling backwards again. You could have Aries and Libra on your chart because both of them I did that for. I know I do, so that's interesting. The Hanged Man, Piscean energy. One of your strengths is being able to put yourself upside down to evaluate things from several different perspectives so that you can make decisions from a more informed place. This is also a call for you during August to do just that. It's important to, you know, every once in a while when you're kind of when you're tunnel visioning or rabbit holing, to take a moment to do that, because it's helpful, you know. If we're kind of getting to a point where we can only see things from our perspective, invite other people into the conversation to see what they think. And it's quite refreshing sometimes to understand how other people view things, because yeah, like I said, sometimes we get tunnel vision and we don't necessarily have the whole picture. We only see what we see. And oftentimes, I think that we can also forget that the way we view things is like the way we think and the way we view things and how we consider life to be and how we feel isn't the way that other people do stuff. You ever see those like memes or reels or whatever where people are amazed that when people read, they hear things in their head? Like when I read, I hear the words in my head. And when I write, I hear the words in my head. I have like, after I speak with somebody, I go over that conversation in my head afterwards and I'm thinking about, how did that person feel? What was that, you know, how do I feel about that conversation? Was there something I said that this, and this? So, but not everybody introspects like that. And it's really interesting how different people have different levels of perception, and different people have different levels of emotional maturity, and different people have different levels of introspection. Some people can walk away from a conversation, not even know that somebody else, not even detect that somebody else, you know, had like a tone of voice that was upset or whatever, you know, completely oblivious. And other people, they can walk away from even a contentious conversation and they don't even think about it ever again. You might be like totally obsessing about it, like, you know, 4 hours later, spinning, you know, reeling somewhere, you know, and another person might be like, I didn't even think about it. 5 minutes later, I was done with that whole thing. So it's interesting how that works for different people. So that, again, you know, I hate to have gone off on a tangent, but that's why this is important. Is because, and especially in connecting with other people, if you have good enough relationships with other people where you can collaborate on how you feel about things and ideas and all that kind of stuff, that's especially important. It's a huge strength to have connections with other people where you can do that. And I know certainly for me professionally, for quite a long time, I had that. I had community, a sense of community where I had colleagues where that's all we would do was communicate back and forth ideas and how did we feel about that conversation and how did that work and blah, blah, blah. And it was extremely helpful. It was very helpful from a self-development space, from a professional development space. And it helped us all become better leaders as well as better people, you know? So, yeah, because everybody has a different level of emotional intelligence, emotional maturity, external and internal self-awareness, you know. So sometimes we all don't really know how other people feel and how other people perceive things until we open up that dialogue. So at the very least, if you don't have the ability to communicate with other people about their perspective on things, at least attempt, this is what this is saying, to consider the perspective of others. There's a need for that. Anyway, still have one more reading to do, Ash, and you got to be at work at 9:30. So you got to be logged in at 9:30. So let's get going. Next, we're looking at, I'm calling this next one the staircases, next steps, symbolism that's going to show you where you're headed to and whether you're going to be, you know, what's going to lead you to either backsliding into the basement or, you know, elevating yourself to the balcony, which is the one after this, but we'll get to that after. So let's look at the staircases. What are your next steps in the tower here? Capricorn. Holy shit, card vomit. Well, I can't take this or this, but we can take this. We have the Mother of Cups, Queen of Cups energy. Speaking of emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, highly intuitive Cancerian energy here. This is the feminine Cancer energy that has strong maternal instincts, extremely motherly, but also watery, intuitive, connected with the emotional aspect of life, poetry, highly poetic and romantic individual, but also somebody who understands when it's welcome and okay to give freely of their cup, their emotional cup, and when it's necessary to withdraw their emotional cup from others. That's why, and you'll hear lots of other tarot readers talk about this, why some readers talk about in the Rider-Waite Tarot, the Queen of Cups has a lid on her cup. It's a big ass cup. And it's full of a lot of emotion and a lot of love and a lot of energy from the heart space. However, it's got a lid on it because she knows when it's best to lift the lid off and give freely all of those waters, or when it's imperative to put the lid back on and say, no, F that, I'm out, you know? But again, it's about connecting with the intuition. A swan, seeing a swan might be symbolic of something for you during August in terms of when you're going to connect with your higher self or elevate yourself, or when you see that you're backsliding, you'll see the swan. I think it's more about connecting with the higher self and when you're going to elevate to the next level, but we'll see about that. That's card vomit, can't take it. I think we're going to see that a lot with this deck. Actually, this deck isn't so bad after all. I'm digging it. Might put it back into rotation. Maybe it'll get easier to shuffle. This is it's an invitation. I think that's the biggest thing. It's an invitation for you to be more discerning with where you are giving of that cup. And also to watch your intuition about when and where you share your emotion. You know, be selective of how and when and where you provide people an insight into your emotions. Thanks for that. So I'm channeling while I'm doing this, and I just got given shit for something that I totally got called out and said it because, and yeah, and I'm totally guilty of that. Thanks. And didn't I just get finished bitching during the Libra reading about how I never get channeled messages in my own readings? And I just like channeled without even thinking about it. And like, guess what? I just called myself out on my own bullshit without even realizing it on camera. That's embarrassing. Sometimes it can be, again, it can be really easy to go into sympathetic overdrive when we just kind of throw it out into the ether that is the interwet. And again, it's an invitation for you to be more discerning with who you share your waters with. not everybody's respectful of that. Not everybody appreciates that. And not everybody should. It's a privilege to be invited to witness that. It's not a right, and it's not it's not a right, it's a privilege. So, okay, it's a right, not a privilege. Not everybody should or needs to see that. Ace of Wands in the reverse with High Priestess in reverse. There's a secret coming out about there. Something isn't beginning. A creative endeavor. This is the matchstick of the divine, the Ace of Wands. And when it's in the reverse, it's like somebody's going with that matchstick. So that creative spark isn't happening. An initiation of sorts when it comes to something creative, a new idea. Something isn't getting off the ground in terms of something creative, a passion project of sorts. There's a secret coming to light about that. It's no mystery why that would be. 1, 2. Circadian Rhythm, isn't it called? I think it's called Circadian Rhythm by Silver Sun Pickups does that. 1, 2. There's a secret coming to light. The secret is surfacing. You might see a book of match. The book of matches is prevalent here, so that might be something. A tiger and also a swan. So next we're looking at whether you're going to be backsliding during August or if you're going to elevate to the next level, which would be the balcony. So we're looking at whether you're going to hit the basement or the balcony as a result of these next steps during August. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. If I was clarifying, we could find out what all that is. But so we have card vomit, which we won't take, but we have one that went and flipped on. Okay. So movement forward. This looks to be a balcony. Movement forward progress. And you see the pentacle around that person's neck. In time, this was necessary, I'm hearing. The Chariot, Cancerian energy. Again, you could have Cancer figuring strongly in your chart. Movement forward, travel, a trip. This is my change of address card. So the elevation, something that's speaking higher to your, speaking to your higher self, but the next step moving forward, these next steps are going to carry you towards a trip, traveling somewhere, but also could be where you are relocating. And a change of scenery, I'm hearing, is specifically good for you during July or the 7th of a certain month. Is good. It's about time. It's about time. Somebody is saying it's about time that happens. One more. You could go somewhere where there are horses. It could be a trip by car. But it's forward movement, progress. You're making progress towards something. Could be taking a trip to see your mother. Or somebody from your mother's side of the family. How's more? Oh my god, come on. I'll have to pull one if I'm not going to get one. Okay, thank you. Daughter of Pentacles. Okay, so now we have a gift. It's like a housewarming gift. change of address, and then a gift. Page of Pentacles can be a gift. Timepiece, peace offering. Somebody's going to give you a clock for your house. Or there's like a communication about your worthiness or your time or the time that you spend or something of that nature. Something that communicates your worth during this trip, if you go on a trip. But the movement forward, there's something about during making your progress, there's something about the time and dedication, a communication about that. So mundane. If you are relocating, I don't know why I get this shit. If you are relocating and you receive a gift, you might receive like a fucking like dough, like something that's made out of dough, like bread or cookies, or you know, you might get. I'm getting challah bread, or not challah. What the fuck? What is it? Pardon my French. Oh, it's escaping me. I can see it in my head. Not challah. It's yeah, it's like a challah bread. Like almost like the marble rye. But it's a housewarming gift. Somebody might give you a gift of bread or a bread maker or something with dough. Okay, so now we're looking at the flag. Finally, we're looking at the flag of the structure here. This is the key point, the thing that you have to remember no matter what. Okay, Capricorn. I feel like somebody's giving you a housewarming gift. It's either a clock or an ornament for your front door that hangs. It is like a pentacle. Like a talisman for your front door, or something that's like food, like bread, yeah, like challah, you know, the braided shit. That's challah. Is this a flipper? We have a flip. I don't think we do. What is the key point for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus? What do you got? Oh, cool. All right. We have the Page of Swords with the Magician in the reverse. Key point here is there needs to be mastery of the self. This is Virgo energy as well as Gemini energy. However, in the reverse, we're going to absolutely be going with Piscean timing. Look back to Pisces season or look to Sagittarius season. But the main point is if you're not willing to master the self and get control over the things that we've discussed today that you need to kind of rein in, then there's no point trying to master the elements, right? Don't bother trying to manifest anything. I fucking hate that word because I think that it really takes people's power away. They throw it all into the universe and just put that word attached to it and think it's just going to automatically happen for them, and that's not true. But that's another story for another day. Self-mastery before mastering the elements, not the other way around. You don't get to master the elements without mastering the self. You have to learn how to control yourself first. This is observing for the purposes of learning. Oftentimes people will call this a stalker card in the tarot, the Page of Swords, but it's more the wisdom to sit back and observe and learn. So there is more work that needs to be done here. Interesting. We could have somebody actually watching to see if you are working on mastering the self, or they could be bearing witness to you not mastering the self at this time. And just sitting back and waiting and actually saying to themselves, you need to master yourself before you can master your elements. Crawl before you walk. That's, yeah, it's exactly like that. Crawl before you walk. And somebody's sitting there watching this. They don't think you're ready for something yet. Okay, let's get your no bullshit advice from the Rebel deck, and then we'll wrap this up. Yeah. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Somebody's watching you, waiting to see. They're coming from an intellectual perspective on things. They're waiting to see when you're going to gain control of yourself. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself. Somebody's like, Jesus Christ, get a hold of yourself. They're actually saying that. So, yeah. These fell out during, do you want me to take them? I'll put them over here. And we'll take those as well as something else. Because I don't normally take them when they randomly flip out during a shuffle. But we'll take those too. Let's see here. Any other messages for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus? Advice for them during August. What do you got? Oh, you got like 4. So you got 2 there and 2 that we got during the shuffle that I decided to take just because I like you. Okay, let's see. So we'll take these 2 first. We have put the fucking phone down. Too much screen time is making you awkward and sad. Go talk to a live person. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And then detox. Drink a smoothie, unfriend that asshole, and throw some shit out. Ooh, nicely done. And then what else do we have here? Oops. We have you need a big fucking hug. Squeeze. Yeah. And whatever you were thinking about, don't do it. Sorry, that reminds me of So You Want to Be a Writer by Charles Bukowski. Some of you might be writers. If you haven't read that piece of work, I was going to call it piece of art. It is a piece of art. Go read it, because don't do it. It reminds me of Bukowski. Now is not the fucking time. Go read that. So You Want to Be a Writer by Charles Bukowski. Anyway, I hope that this resonated with you. Hit this button if it did. If you like what I do, hit this button also. And if you aren't subscribed, help a sister out. We'll see you when we see you next. Thank you for your time. And that's what I got for you, Caps. Bye.